Hi, this video starts off the videos for Chapter 2. This is video 1 for Section 2.1. In this video, we will identify simple statements in logic. We will write the negation of a simple statement in logic. And finally, we will identify compound statements in logic. A statement in logic is a statement that is either true or false, but not both. A statement in logic cannot be an opinion, question, exclamation, or command, mainly because an opinion could be true for one person and false for another person, right? So an opinion doesn't always hold the same truth value. Same thing with a question. How can a question or an exclamation or a command be true or false? That doesn't make sense. So the first objective is to identify, are the following sentences statements? If not, why not? Let's start with the sentence, today is Monday. So regardless of whether today is actually Monday or not, that is a statement. That's because that is either true or false, right? But not both. Again, it doesn't matter if it's Monday or not, right? That is still a statement. So I will say that today is Monday is a statement because it is either true or false, but not both. Now for sentence B, the original Jurassic Park is the best movie of the franchise. This is an opinion. This could be true for some people and false for other people. So this is not a statement. And here I have that written out for you. So this is an opinion, not a statement. Again, it could be true for one person and false for another. Okay, so our last example for this is turn down the volume. So that is not a statement, that is a command. And it doesn't really make sense for a command to have a truth value, right? We call the true or false, that is called the truth value of the statement. So it doesn't make sense for turn down the volume to have a truth value. Okay, that concludes example 1. Now let's talk about negations. So the negation of a statement is another statement that has the opposite truth value from the original statement. So suppose your original statement is true, the negation of that statement would be false, right? And vice versa. If your original statement is false, the negation will be true. So to write negations, there's a couple guidelines to write the negation of some statements. Like a guideline is don't introduce new information. That's unnecessary, right? To introduce any new information. In its simplest form, you can accomplish a negation with the addition of the word not. And I should say that works for kind of like these short statements, right? We will talk further about simple and compound statements and quantified statements, right? And negating those gets a little bit more involved. But when it's like a short, sweet statement such as these, then the negation can usually be accomplished by adding the word not. Again, it's important, don't introduce any new information. Okay, so what is the negation of the statement, today is Monday? So you may first think, well, maybe today is Tuesday or today is Wednesday. But those are introducing new information. And those statements will not always have the opposite truth value from the original. So the one that will have the statement that will have the opposite truth value from the original is today is not Monday. Right? Either it is or it isn't. So to say today is not Monday, that is a statement that has the opposite truth value of the original. All right, so red is a color of the rainbow. So we don't want to introduce any new information, so don't say anything about the other colors of the rainbow. We essentially want to put a word not in there somewhere. So if we say red is not a color of the rainbow, then that has the opposite truth value from the original statement. Now maybe you're like, whoa, hang on a second. Red is a color of the rainbow. Well, that's okay, right? Your statement that you make can be false, and it's still a statement. That concludes example 2. Okay. The last objective of this video is to talk about simple and compound statements. So a simple statement is a statement that contains only one idea. Let me scroll back here a little bit. I believe all the statements we've seen so far are simple. Today is Monday. That statement contains one idea. Red is a color of the rainbow. That contains one idea. The only statement here was today is Monday. Okay, so the statements we've seen so far contain one idea. They are simple statements. A compound statement, on the other hand, is a statement that connects two or more ideas. So a compound statement connects two or more simple statements. Now, you all are very used to doing this in the English language, right? Anytime you're using a comma or a semicolon, you are connecting statements. So we call those things connectives. So those are things like and, or, if then. We will explore connectives more in sections to come. For today, for this video, you just need to know when you see one of those words, and, or, if then, that could be a compound statement, a statement that's connecting two or more ideas. So in example 3, we first want to say, are the following sentences statements in logic? If not, explain why not. If so, is that sentence simple or compound? Okay, so our first example, NASCAR drivers do approximately 200 laps during a race. So that's either true or false, right? That is a statement in logic. And does it express one idea or more than one idea? So that expresses one idea, meaning that is a simple statement. You could also say, well, I don't see an and or an or an if then or any of our connectives. What about example B? There are 3 colors of lap flags during a NASCAR race, and some penalties result in a 1 lap deduction. This is a statement. Even if you know nothing about NASCAR, you can say it's a statement because it's either true or false. So is it a simple statement or a compound statement? This is a compound statement. It presents 2 ideas. The idea of the colors of lap flags and the idea of some penalties resulting in a 1 lap deduction. So yes, this is a statement. It is a compound statement. Again, this next part will be more important in videos to come, that the connective that you see here is the word and. That concludes example 3.